there, Trailblazers. Today I'm gonna go over your very first art lesson. Okay, it's gonna look different, right? Because your art is not like my art. Okay, so this is an example of an imagination postcard. Okay, so this is what you're going to be creating for your very first art lesson. Okay, I'm gonna show you my example again a little bit later, but for now, I'm gonna show you examples of postcards. Okay, now you may not know what a postcard is. You may have never seen one before or heard of one, because nowadays people really don't send a lot of postcards. And if you want to send a greeting to someone, you can simply send a text. You can record yourself and send a greeting that way. You can do a greeting over social media. So nowadays, people really don't send postcards, okay? But when I was little, if I got a postcard in the mail, it was usually from a friend or a relative that lived in a different state, or maybe they were visiting somewhere over the summer, maybe they went to Florida and they wanted to send me a postcard with a little greeting of maybe how they were doing, okay? So I have some examples of some postcards, okay? And I actually found these from Miss Bride, our librarian. Usually if I need something but don't have it, I already know the one person who's gonna have it is Miss Bride. She's just a plethora of information and really cool artifacts. So these are examples of postcards, okay? Postcards usually are in a similar shape, okay? A square or a rectangle. And on the front of the postcard, okay, is usually an image or a drawing of some sort. Or maybe if I'm getting a postcard from New York, maybe the front of the postcard would have a picture of New York City on it, okay? Or maybe my friend went to Disney World, so her postcard would have a picture of Disney World on it, okay? So anyways, usually on the front they have, like I said, an image or a drawing, okay? And these ones are actually really fun because look how they change, okay? And this one too. So if I tilt it, ooh, very cool. These are actually both famous art pieces. So this one is The Scream by Edvard Munch, and this one is The Great Wave. Very cool. Okay, so on the front is an image, but on the back is where you would write your greeting. Okay, so that's what these lines are for. You would write a sentence or two, okay? And then after you were done, you would put it in your mailbox and it would be delivered, okay? And then the other person would receive your postcard, okay? So there are different ones. This one is another postcard. This one has books on it. This is another famous art piece, okay? So these are really cool. And then again, on the back, it has the greeting. So front side, it has the picture, and on the back is where you would write your little greeting, okay? This one has bald eagle on it, okay? Ooh, look, how many of you are familiar with this little character here, okay? Tim Burton, okay? So you can find really fun postcards, okay? Ones that you love, ones that maybe you are a fan of. So maybe if you're a fan of Tim Burton, you can find his postcards, okay? So those are examples of postcards, okay? And I want to encourage you guys to, I don't know, maybe find a postcard and mail it to a relative or a friend who maybe moved or isn't living here anymore, and maybe they're in a different state. You can send them a postcard, okay? So now that I've talked about what a postcard is, okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about imagination, okay? Like, my big question for you is, what is an imagination? Think about that. What is it? What does it mean? Do we use our imaginations a lot? Definitely. Okay, like an example would be like in the story that I read to you today, we read purple, green, and yellow, okay? And throughout this story, we really did have to use our imagination, okay? Especially like in this part of the story, when she completely erased herself, right? We had to really use our imagination to visualize the story, okay? This is the artist, okay? This is the artist using their imagination to recreate words in a book, okay? So they're using their imagination, and we had to use our imagination, right, throughout this whole story, okay? Especially when Bridget started to color herself again. Because we know that in real life, we can't do that, right? We can't. And we don't just disappear. So we had to use our imagination to picture Bridget in the story, okay? So an imagination is, you know, a way to recreate or remodel, you know, the world around you, okay? To come up with a new vision, to use your imagination to be creative, okay? As artists, imagination is a very big thing. We use it a lot, more than you realize, okay? So what you're going to do for this lesson is I'm gonna ask that you close your eyes, okay? Close your eyes, and I want you to tell me or to show me what is in your imagination. What do you see? Do you see things that maybe you love, but you're seeing them in a different way? Okay, maybe when you close your eyes, you are imagining, you know, people and places, but it's really not how it looks in real life or how they are in real life. Okay, objects or people can be distorted in a different way, kind of like abstract art in a way, a little bit, okay? So what I want you to do is you're going to close your eyes, and I want you to show me what is in your imagination. I want you to think about what is in your imagination. What are you picturing, okay? Kind of like when you're dreaming, right? When you're dreaming, that's your imagination really just exploring, right? And I know some of you have thought about maybe you've had some crazy dreams, okay, that may or may not have happened, okay? So that's using your imagination, okay? So what you're going to do is after you close your eyes and you picture what you're imagining, you are going to draw it on a piece of paper, okay? Now, I recommend using a piece of paper that is a good size paper, okay? You don't want it too small. It could even be the actual size of a real postcard. Now, I made mine a little bit bigger than an actual postcard because I wanted enough room to really draw, you know, my imagination, okay? So you're going to, on paper, using whatever art supplies you would like, you are going to draw for me your imagination, okay? But on the front side, okay? Because remember, on the back side is your greeting, okay? So on the front side, you are going to draw for me your imagination, okay? And then on the back side, now mine's hard to see because of the markers that I chose, but I would like for you, okay, and if it doesn't show on the back, you can just write it on another piece of paper. I want you to write a sentence or a paragraph, okay, for my older kiddos, like my 4th and 5th graders. I know you guys can write paragraphs now, so, but for my little ones, you can just write a sentence or two and tell me what is in your imagination, okay? So remember, my imagination is going to be different from your imagination, okay? So when I close my eyes, what do I imagine? What do I see? Well, when I closed my eyes, I thought of a world where it's nothing but happy things, okay? Things that make me happy, things I love. I pictured myself walking in a world with a big sun and rainbows and clouds. I pictured some icing, maybe drizzling down. I pictured my favorite drink from Starbucks and a donut. Okay, so this is my imagination. And it could change. I could have a different one later on. But when I closed my eyes, this is what I was imagining, okay? A world of happy things, okay? So this is mine. This is my example, okay? But yours is gonna be very different, okay? And I cannot wait to see all of your different imagination postcards. Now, it's not an actual postcard because you are not going to paste, you're not gonna put a stamp and mail it to somebody, okay? But you are going to hold on to it. but you could always mail it to someone if you really, really wanted to, okay? But for the sake of the project, we're gonna hold on to it, okay, for right now, okay? So what I want you to focus on when you're drawing your imagination postcard is I want you to make sure that you are using your best, nice, neat coloring, okay? Color everything in, okay? Maybe some outlining. I always tell my students to outline because what outlining does, and outlining are the black lines that you see, the outlines, okay? That outline a shape, okay? And I actually was using a Sharpie for my outlining, but it was a skinny Sharpie. But look how thick my lines are because I went over them and I went over it and I went over it about 3 times. So that way my lines were bold and it made my artwork pop, okay? I also did a lot of overlapping. So overlapping is also gonna help make your artwork more interesting. So overlapping is when you place something in front of or behind something, okay? So like these clouds are overlapping the sun rays, okay? Or maybe right here, especially the icing is overlapping also the sun rays, okay? So I've got a lot of overlapping going on. And I had a lot of negative space. So the negative spaces are where they're like, these are negative spaces. There's nothing inside of them except this is white, but I had a lot of yellow, big yellow spaces from the rays. So I went in and I added some fun designs inside those spaces. So that also helped with my artwork. All right, boys and girls. So this again is just my example, okay? So now that I have gone over the lesson and I've showed you my example, I want you to go ahead and get started on your lesson. So I hope you enjoy the lesson. I hope you have fun. Okay, boys and girls, and I can't wait to see your masterpieces. So